at the beginning of our healing journey, we are so like traumatized and dysregulated and emotional, and like we feel crazy and we feel like we have no control over what's going on, and therefore we shame ourselves so fucking much because we're like, fuck, like, can I just be normal? Can I just be healed? Can I just be sane and, you know, not so like fucked up? And in this loop, we end up like feeling so guilty and shaming ourselves so fucking deeply for who we are, okay? And so we create this distance between who we are and who we want to be. But the only way to become who we want to be is by actually embracing who we are right now. And in some way, taking ourselves seriously is very necessary because, you know, for so long we've been running away from the very serious fact that we are very dysregulated. We are emotionally reactive. We are traumatized. We do have a lot of shit that we need to fucking heal and sort out and figure out, right? But on the other flip side of that, like the guilting and the shaming around the fact that we are like that isn't helping anyone. It's actually just creating more fractures and more pain in our system. And so through my journey, I've actually learned to stop taking myself so seriously and to start actually loving and asking the parts of me that are a little bit messed up and not okay, like, what do you need? How can I love you more? How can I hold you? How can I support you? And so we kind of create this like step-by-step process, like, oh, if I just do my yoga, if I just do my journaling, if I just go to therapy, if I just do my breath work and meditation, then I'm going to be healed, then I'm going to be perfect, then I'm going to be this like ideal version of myself. And while those things do really help, they also kind of like box us in to this identity that like, I'm only okay when I do X, Y, and Z. I'm only a perfect healed version of myself when I follow the rules, when I do the structured yoga, meditation, breathwork, journaling practices, right? And so they're very good, and they definitely do help release trauma and help you come back to a state of regulation. But when it comes to creating new thought patterns and a whole new version of yourself, that requires deeper subconscious work. And also all of these things that I've mentioned are very masculine, structured ways of healing, which are great and important and, you know, serve you up to a point. But when it comes to doing like deep emotional healing, which means we have to work with the body, which means we have to work with feminine ways of healing because emotions are correlating to feminine energy. And so we have to engage with feminine energy practices. That's why I speak so much about embodiment practices, feminine energy, working with the womb, working with emotions, working with sensations, with the sensual, sexual body. This is where all of the blocks are. This is where we are not actually guided because it's all so non-rational, non-linear. And because this feminine energy embodiment healing work is so non-linear, non-rational, we almost avoid it because it doesn't actually make sense to us. It's so much easier to just do the therapy, do the meditation, do the yoga, do the journaling because it's easy, it's structured, it's planned out, right? But with the feminine energy stuff, it's very creative and it flows and it's a little bit chaotic and it's all over the place and it's intuitive and spontaneous. And so this is why working with me and doing my course is so revolutionary, because I have literally created and invented my own healing methods, my own protocols that are going to help get you out of your rational mind and into your feeling, processing, sensual body, which is where all the blocks are in the first place. I was in therapy for 5 years. I was doing the yoga. I was doing the journaling. I was doing the meditations. Like I was doing all the things. And that's why my healing journey hits like a stagnancy. It just hits a plateau. And so only when I started to activate into my body and connect with my womb, my pussy, my heart, my emotions, my sensuality, my sexuality, and start to allow myself to go what I call insane or crazy and just go into that like messiness of the emotions. And this is what embodiment is all about, is like that's when my healing started to accelerate again. That's when I started to become a whole new version of myself. That's when I started to actually notice massive, massive changes. And so what I also mean about this whole like creating a new identity, self-concept, is because a lot of you may look at my posts and stuff and be like, oh my god, this bitch, she like doesn't give a fuck, like I wish I could be like her and just not give a fuck. And it's like, no, I used to be someone that gave a fuck. I used to care like so much what people thought about me. It used to make me like anxious as fuck. But then I changed my self-concept. I healed my identity, healed my self-concept, and I became a new version of myself who didn't give a fuck. Okay, so that's the trick. It's really all down to mindset, self-concept, and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Because only out of your comfort zone will you become a new version of yourself.